What is the next big move for Marvel? We all know Marvel Studios is an absolute juggernaut at the box office, taking in over $12 billion over the last couple of years. But do you know what dwarfs that completely? Video games. And now it appears Marvel is moving much deeper into that realm, and it could be a sign of what's to come. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about it. Well, we recently found out Marvel's gaming footprint is starting to expand. Over the last couple of years, we started to get some pretty big announcements with Midnight Suns, another Spider-Man game, and Wolverine. But we just found out that Marvel Games is making some bigger steps with Electronic Arts. Now, Electronic Arts is a longtime publisher behind many franchises including FIFA, Mass Effect, Need for Speed, and Madden. And this seems to expand that relationship with Marvel because we found out earlier this year they were already working on an Iron Man game. Now, the Iron Man game is in early development, so the project is pretty far from launch, but that hasn't prevented Marvel and EA from coming up to create some new details for some additional titles. Now, according to a press release, the team over at EA revealed that they are in the process of working on 3 games for Marvel, and they are set to come to both PCs and consoles. Now, the first of these games is the aforementioned Iron Man game, which we've only heard minor details about. Now, apparently this title will center around Tony Stark, which means it's going to be very similar to Spider-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, and those Avengers games we've seen over the last couple of years. Now, we don't know quite yet what the other 2 games EA might be involved in, but there are some ideas trickling around out there. Earlier this summer, it was claimed that a Black Panther game was also in development over at EA, and that the game is currently in development in Seattle with veterans of the team that helped create Middle-earth: Shadows of Mordor, which is a pretty solid run. And it should be noted that this game is completely separate from that Captain America Black Panther game we were talking about a few weeks ago. Now, who the third title is, it's hard to tell right now, but it's pretty clear Marvel is once again expanding that footprint and building a universe in a new world. Now, this makes a ton of sense, because video games actually completely dwarf movies by quite a long ways. The biggest box office years ever came in at about $12 billion. This was pre-pandemic. But when you look over to video games, the most recent statistic we could get was 2018, and they brought in almost 12 times that amount at $140 billion in a year. The footprint and returns for video games is so much bigger, I totally get why Marvel is moving in this direction. But then it begs a question. They've made it pretty clear these games will all be standalone type games. But what will Marvel do in the future? And I would not be surprised if they look to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a model for future video games. I really do believe Marvel is in the process of creating a series of games, and that might be what they're doing with EA right now, that start to create a much larger and interconnected world of Marvel characters, basically doing the same thing in a video game world that they've already done with the MCU. This would create crossover between the games, consistent voice actors, and looks and feels, which would probably drive fans to try other games and even possibly have ongoing stories that help build cohesion between each edition of the Marvel games. Now, how all this pans out, we'll have to wait and see. This is all new for Marvel, and if we look to history, this is how they actually kicked off Marvel Studios in the first place. They used Universal and Paramount to first develop their films, but the long-term question for me ends up being, will this eventually go fully in-house? Or will Disney even buy their own video game company and use that to help develop their own material? All this we'll have to wait and see. Now, obviously, we're covering the Marvel Universe big here on this channel. So if you want to get all of your Marvel Gaming Universe updates, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll make sure we bring you all the news. But until we know more, what do you guys think? Do you think Marvel is building a completely new universe full of their Marvel characters in the video game world? And beyond Iron Man, what other games do you think EA might be developing? Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.